This is the Headricks Chapel Methodist Church in Wears Valley, Tennessee. And they're having a shape note convention and singing this afternoon. They've already had dinner on the grounds and they're inside singing. And there's probably 50 to 75 people here. We're going to go up here and see what they're doing.
Next week at Wearwood School. It's about 5 miles down the road. If you like it next week,
come just a little closer. All right. Now tell me your names, please.
Luke Headrick.
Luke Headrick. And you're?
Lena Headrick.
Lena Headrick.
This is Lois Lukey. I'm their daughter.
Lois Lukey. Okay, great. Now, you folks have been in this valley for quite some time, is that right?
78 years.
78, that's how old you are, right? Okay.
I've not been in here that long.
You had,
I didn't come to move to the valley until I was 10 years old.
I see. Now, Luke, your family built this little chapel here. It's Headricks Chapel, right?
Some of them did, yes.
Some of them did? Uh-huh.
19 and 2.
19 and 2. Can you tell me a little bit of the history of the valley? Do you know any of the history?
Wears Valley?
Yes.
No, not too much. I've got a piece of a record of this church, cemetery, that part.
Yeah.
The whole valley, I'd have to think about that church.
Yeah. Okay.
The settling though, Daddy, like the farm we have, your farm now, was a grant from the Revolutionary War. It was given at the end of the Revolutionary War was a grant.
It was a grant from the King of England?
How did the grant come?
State grant, I guess.
It was at the end of the Revolutionary War, I know that. So there's been a Headrick on that farm all the generations and still is.
I see. And that's here in Wears Valley?
About a mile and a half from here.
Mile and a half?
Right. Just down the road, please.
Right, okay. So, do you intend to keep it in the family?
Yes, yes we do.
Okay, good, good.
We do.
Now, are y'all members of the Headricks Chapel Church?
No, we're not.
Where do you go?
We go to Valley View Baptist Church.
Valley View Baptist Church?
Mother, tell him about that this is not a denominational church. It is tell him kind of what kind of church it is.
Oh, I see.
It was built for everyone to use. It was set up for the 4 churches that were in the valley.
Yeah.
So there's 2 Methodists and 2 Baptists.
Uh-huh.
A Sunday went to each one.
Oh.
Like first Sunday to one Baptist and the second Sunday.
Yeah. I see. So it was used by 4 different congregations then?
Yes, it was back then. And then now
Could you speak up just a little bit?
Now, the primitive Baptists use this church.
Yes,
And
I see.
the other Methodist, the other Methodist does not.
I see.
It's one reason they're making enough money today is there's not anyone now really to take care of the church. And so now it's really like my father and two other elders here in the valley kind of take up money to have some expenses to like paint.
Yeah.
Because there's not anyone to really maintain the church now.
Yeah, I see. Okay. All right. Well, I thank you very much for your time, and hope to see you again next year.
Okay.
Okay. It's working now. Would you please state your name?
Estil Ownby.
Would you spell that?
Estil Ownby.
O-W-N-B-Y.
Estil Ownby.
Estil Ownby. And where were you born, sir?
I was born up in Big Greenbrier in the West Smoky Mountain National Park.
Uh-huh.
November the 25th, 1910,
19 and 10.
which makes me about 81 years old, soon to be 82.
Uh-huh. So you were born in what is now the Great Smoky Mountains National Park.
That's right.
Uh-huh. And could you tell me a little bit about what it was like to live there?
Well, it was a pretty large community. We had a primitive Baptist church and a missionary Baptist church. We had pretty good sized school. There was about 400 children went to school there in the grade school.
What was the name of that school?
Greenbrier Cove School was all the name I ever did. Some people just called it the Briar School.
Uh-huh.
And
did you...
when I was about 15 years old, my dad sold his property to the, well, really we sold it to the state of Tennessee, and the state of Tennessee gave it to the federal government to establish the park.
Uh-huh.
Dad had 85 acres of land, and he got the huge price of $1,500 for it.
Oh, is that all?
That's all.
For 85 acres. Boy, I'd like to buy 85 acres today for $1,500.
Yeah, couldn't do that in Sevier County now, could you?
Well, now, did your family farm in Greenbrier?
Yes, they did.
What?
Dad was a pretty good farmer.
And what did he grow mostly?
Well, he grew corn and beans, potatoes, and we have a pretty good sized apple orchard. Had a few cattle. He'd sell a few calves every year, and he'd sell apples and potatoes on the Knoxville market. And
So he would take them all the way to Knoxville to sell
well,
them?
he'd send them in by a man who had a big truck who would haul it down there and sell it for him.
Oh, yeah.
Back when he was a younger man, he used to peddle to Knoxville with horses and a wagon.
Uh-huh.
Took 2 days to make the trip.
One day to get there and one day to come back?
2 days to get there and 2 days to get back.
Oh, I see.
He had to camp on the road one night. But in my lifetime, there was big ton-and-a-half trucks in the community, and they did the hauling with trucks, and they could go down there and back the same day.
Yeah. Did a lot of people go to the Primitive Baptist Church?
Not very many. It was a smaller church. There was about, I guess, 50 members of the Primitive Baptist Church, and probably around 100 at the Missionary Baptist Church.
Oh, it was a bigger church.
They're quite a bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings about the same, but the congregations were different.
Yeah. Well, now, what do you remember about those services in particular that you went to?
Well, the Missionary Baptist Church, which my people belong to, was similar to the churches that's in the county now.
Uh-huh.
Primitive Baptist wasn't too much difference. There wasn't too much difference in the beliefs.
Uh-huh.
I have a brother-in-law and a sister who go to the Primitive Baptist Church now.
Mm-hmm.
But I go to the Missionary Baptist Church. And
Yeah.
we've compared beliefs about it, and there's not much difference in it.
Yeah. Now your church believes in sending missionaries, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, that's the reason why they call it Missionary Baptist Church.
And theirs don't.
Yeah, okay. Well now, what would you usually have at a service at a Missionary Baptist Church?
We have Sunday school, which is kind of a Bible teaching service.
Uh-huh.
And then we have this little bit of singing. They get 3 or 4 songs and they have a sermon by the pastor.
Yeah.
And that's usually it.
Uh-huh. You meet every week?
We meet every Sunday
Every
and
Sunday?
every Wednesday night.
Every Wednesday night? Oh, okay.
I belong to the First Baptist Church at Pigeon Forge now.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I'm the senior deacon in that church.
I see. Is that a Southern Baptist or is that a
It's Southern Baptist.
Southern Baptist? So
Southern Baptist.
so you had no problem moving from one kind of Baptist to another then?
No, it's about the same.
About the same, yeah. Did they have any instruments in the old church you went to?
We had what's called an organ, a pump organ.
Yeah,
You know, kept air in it with your feet.
yeah, uh-huh.
Somebody played it.
Did they ever
Now,
bring...
back when I first started going there, we didn't have, but we finally did get one.
Uh-huh. Did they ever have fiddles or banjos?
No, not in the one that we attended in Greenbrier.
Yeah. Were there people in the community that played fiddles and
Oh yes,
banjos?
several musicians in the community.
Can you remember any of their names?
Well, yes, Lincoln Whaley was a good man on the banjo.
Lincoln Whaley.
Lincoln Whaley.
Uh-huh.
And let's see, another one. We had a Davis boy, was almost professional on the French harp,
Uh-huh.
and they'd get together with a few others that I can't remember their names sometimes at somebody's house just to have a little hoedown or shindig as they called it, and make music and everybody'd sing.
Yeah. Would they dance?
Not like what we have dancing now.
Yeah. But I mean,
the only dance is somebody get up and what they'd call buck dance.
buck dance.
Buck dance, just in tune to just in time with the music,
Yeah,
just one at a time.
yeah.
They do that sometimes.
Did you ever have anything called clogging?
No, not back there. Now I did later when I was in high school with in another community. We had cloggers, but
Uh-huh.
back then in that particular community we didn't have.
Uh-huh. You have square dances?
No,
No square dances.
no. They did out around Gatlinburg, but not up in Greenbrier.
Mm-hmm. What was the community that you moved to where they had clogging?
Well, that was around. It was a little community just outside Gatlinburg, and really it originated in Gatlinburg, I think,
Uh-huh.
for our part of the county anyway.
The clogging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they still have it there
Oh,
in
okay.
Gatlinburg.
Well, now, do they use fiddles and other things in the church you're in now? Play fiddles, banjos?
Well, we have some instruments besides the pipe organ and the piano.
Uh-huh.
We have some flutes and some harps and things like that. We have a bunch of girls that play every time the choir sings. We have 40 people in our church choir now, and they aid the pipe organ and the piano. 4 or 5 girls do, and they're there about every Sunday.
Did you finish school?
Yeah, I finished high school.
Finished high school? Uh-huh.
Got a job carrying mail out of Sevierville.
Oh.
Worked at that for 30 years.
Uh-huh.
And operated the farm my wife and I bought.
So you've been doing some farming then?
We grew cattle, kept about 40, 50 head of black Angus cattle.
Yeah.
Sold the calves every year.
Yeah.
Grew about 3 acres of burley tobacco.
Uh-huh.
Grew our own hay and corn.
Yeah.
At one time I had 4,000 layers on the farm, and I sold eggs to a hatchery that was located in our county at that time.
Uh-huh.
And I've been retired from mail service for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
My wife's been retired 17 years. She taught school in Gatlinburg for 37 years, but she's been retired 17 years.
Yeah. What school did she teach at?
She taught it in the high school in Gatlinburg.
Gatlinburg High?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. What did she teach?
She taught biology and math.
Oh, she sounds like she may have gotten a college education.
She got her master's degree before she quit going to school.
Oh, where did she go to school?
Carson Newman College for her BS degree in Jefferson City, and University of Tennessee for a master's
Uh-huh.
in Knoxville.
Yes, I see. Singing was a pretty important part of the community back in your day.
Yes, we had singings. We had singings.
Can you remember the names of any of the songs? Can you remember what happened at a singing?
Well, usually there's 2 or 3 guys that was pretty good leaders at our church,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd take turns. Maybe one of them sang about 20 minutes, lead the congregation or the choir, and then another one get up and lead for a little while. We usually had about 3 or 4 pretty good leaders in our congregation.
Yeah. Would you just sing hymns, or did you sing other?
Mostly hymns or anything anybody wanted to sing.
Yeah.
Just so we had enough books to go around.
Right. Did you go to places where they sang non-sacred songs, just regular old?
Yeah, well, I do now. I sing with this Pigeon Forge Chorale group now.
Uh-huh.
We sing anything that's written.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I sing with the church choir too.
Yeah. Back in the old days, both when you were in the park and afterwards, did you have people that sang ballads and old songs?
Yes. We had several ballad singers.
And what were their names?
Oh, Burl Turner, Maud King,
Maud King.
Evelina Ownby, my sister, she used to sing.
What was that first name you mentioned?
Burl Turner.
Vera Turner?
Verl
Turner. Was that a man?
No, it was a lady.
It was a lady.
And several of the younger people would sing ballads.
Do you know anybody that sings them today? Still singing them?
Well, we have
But Shirley Billings didn't
once a year we have a homecoming at the high school where I went to school.
Uh-huh.
And quite often at this homecoming, one of the people there will want to sing one of the old ballads.
Yeah.
And we've had that happen a few times.
Uh-huh.
I am chairman of that group
Yes.
that meets back there every year.
Is this the school that's in the park, or the one?
No, it's just outside the park.
Just
It's where
outside?
I went to high school.
And what's the name of that school?
It was Smoky Mountain Academy at that time.
Uh-huh.
About 10 or 12 years ago, it ceased to be a school.
Uh-huh.
And the Baptist people in Sevier County owned the property. The Baptist churches, the Baptist Association owned the property. And they have converted it and added some more buildings and a big swimming pool. And it's now a Baptist youth camp. We operate it for the children in the Sevier County. Of for camp in the summertime when they're not in school.
When do you have your meeting, your annual reunion?
Our annual meeting is the third Saturday in October.
In October. Can anybody come?
Anybody can come that wants to come.
Oh, good.
Be glad to have you.
Okay. Who would sing? Who would be the person who would sing ballads when they got
There
together?
might not be anybody this time, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something that they volunteer to do sometimes.
Yeah. But in the past, who is usually?
Well, several different ones have. Sometimes we just have a group singing
Yeah.
after, just before we eat our meal, and sometimes after we always have dinner.
Yeah.
She'll come with an empty stomach if you come.
Okay. Now, is your sister still alive?
Yeah, not the one I was speaking about, but I have one sister here today.
Oh, you do?
Reeford, did you notice a man got up and led? They called him Reeford Layman.
Right, I saw him.
He's here, and
Okay.
his wife is my sister,
Oh, okay.
and we're the only two left of Dad's family.
Yeah. Now, the one that used to sing the ballads, she's
She's
no,
dead and gone.
she's dead. Can you remember the names of some of the ballads that she used to sing?
Not right off, I can't.
Did she sing Barbara Allen?
Well, she could have, but I don't know if she did or not. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes at this homecoming thing, there'll be some people who have written some poetry, and they want to get up and read the poetry.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll sing.
Uh-huh.
Well, we just kind of meet out and have a little fun together, greeting each other. And they'll be there for all ages because it wasn't a big school.
Yeah.
We had 70, I believe we had 75 there last year, 74, 75 last year.
Uh-huh.
Some of them that graduated from that school's been dead several years.
Yeah.
In fact, I was the oldest one there last year.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Did you used to hunt and fish when you were younger?
sure did. Still do.
Do you?
I don't hunt anymore, I fish.
Uh-huh. Did you ever hunt deer or bear or anything like that?
No, never did. I hunted small game.
Were there any bears in the community?
Yes, there was quite often we'd see bears. And,
Uh-huh.
people would trap them back up the river. And I tell you what they trapped them for, since we're discussing that.
Yeah.
They'd catch them in a trap and bring them in, put them up in a big place about half as big as this room,
Mm-hmm.
built out of logs,
Yeah.
and keep them. So sportsmen out of Knoxville would come up for a bear hunt. That's before the park was established.
Oh,
They'd come there and buy that bear,
yeah.
take its picture and take a picture of the dogs.
Yeah.
Go back home and there'd be a big write-up in the Knoxville Journal about what a race they'd had, and how they tore up the dogs.
Oh, so,
But they'd do that, just every once in a while they'd come out in the paper. They hadn't even been bear hunting at all, they'd come up there and bought the bear. I've known that happen 4 or 5 different times.
yeah. Well, did they moonshine much in the area where you're from?
Quite a bit, quite a bit.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
I don't know of any that's going on now.
Yeah.
Now, there was people that lived in that community that did.
Uh-huh.
I know that.
Did they ever get caught?
Yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, I've known the revenue officers coming in there and catching them a few times. Not very often.
Mm-hmm.
I never was too much. The only steal that I ever saw, I was out squirrel hunting.
Yeah.
And I'd gone across the river and up a big hollow that I hadn't been used to. And I saw a string tied around the bushes and stuff about so high off the ground.
Yeah.
And I'd heard that when a fellow wasn't using his steel, he tried to hide it and then put a string around it so if anybody disturbed it, he'd know it.
Yeah.
In other words, the revenue officers found it and carried it off, and you wouldn't have to go in right close.
Yeah.
So I kept looking. sort of where that string went around, it had gone around about a half acre of ground. But right in the center, there was a little hollow place,
Yeah.
and he had his steel covered up in there and had leaves up over it so that you could hardly see it. If I hadn't just been looking for it, I wouldn't have found it.
Yeah.
That's the only steel I ever saw.
Mm-hmm.
But there were several in the community that I knew
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Fella can't make whiskey out in the open because you got to have fire.
Yeah.
Without people who can see smoke knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
They'd usually run it off at night, I guess, most of the time.
Yeah.
But you hardly ever seen anybody up there drunk out around the stores or the churches or anything.
Mm-hmm.
They were very, very quiet about it.
Yeah. Well,
Their market for it was in Knoxville, I imagine. I imagine that's where most of it was sold.
yeah, I imagine you're right.
That was the nearest big city.
Mm-hmm. Well, can you think of anything else that you think would be interesting to know?
I could tell you about our school one thing. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about or not, but we had cross-bench spellings. Do you know what that is?
No, sir.
Cross-bench spellings. You know what that is?
No, sir.
The whole school, with the last 2 hours of school on Friday evenings, would get together in the big classroom, and two people would choose up, just like he's going to play ball against each other or some other kind of game.
Yeah.
We'd have the benches, these big benches set all the way around.
Yeah.
And one fella get all his team on one side and one on the other. And as you walked across from one of those benches to the other, you got to make a mark on it. It's called a tally. And we'd see who could outspell the other. And if you missed the word, you didn't get, the first time you missed the word, you didn't get to go over. But if you spelled every time the man come around pronouncing the words, you got to go across and make a mark. They call it cross-bench spelling because you'd cross over and go up the other side. Every time you spelled a word, you got to move up one. If you missed a word, you had to sit still. And it was a pretty good contest and taught the children to learn to spell. To really study the spelling lesson because so they could excel in the cross-bench spelling.
I see.
Pretty good little contest.
Yeah, sounds like it. Well, thanks so much for your time and
Well,
much.
I gave you a little bit of an idea how it was up in Greenbrier, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, I certainly appreciate that, and
Well, you're quite welcome.
best wishes to you in the future.
Come see us to see.
Okay,
it's
what's-
about 4 miles east of Gatlinburg,
And that's called Camp Smoky.
Camp Smoky.
That's where you have your reunion.
That's right.
Okay, great. Well, we'll see what we can do about that.
Hope you make it.
Oh, goodness. Oh, there's so many good ones. Glorious things to do those folk listen to the sound.
Which one